When scientists examined this Viking-age sword, they found steel so pure and rich in carbon that producing it should have required temperatures beyond those of an ordinary European forge. Somehow, this blade had appeared centuries ahead of its time. Across the blade, iron letters formed a name, Ulfberht. Similar inscriptions have been found on swords across Europe, but not every blade carrying that name contained the same extraordinary metal. These swords could change how we understand the Viking world. Their steel may connect Scandinavian warriors to furnaces thousands of kilometers away, and to trade routes stretching through rivers, deserts, and empires. To understand why the Ulfberht seemed impossible, we must solve three mysteries: who placed the name on these blades, where the finest steel originated, and why some swords carrying the same mark were dangerously inferior. In the Viking Age, a sword was more than a weapon. Producing one required expensive iron fuel, specialized labor, and weeks of skilled forging. A fine blade represented wealth, authority, and family prestige. Most European iron was produced in bloomeries. These furnaces reduced ore into a spongy mass called a bloom, containing iron, slag, and areas with different carbon levels. The smith then had to refine it repeatedly. Many early medieval swordsmiths solved this inconsistency through pattern welding. They twisted and forged, welded bars of iron and steel together, creating blades that combined flexibility, strength, and a distinctive surface pattern. Pattern welding was sophisticated craftsmanship, not primitive metallurgy, but slag inclusions and uneven carbon could create weak points. The quality of the finished sword depended heavily on the materials and decisions of the smith. Ulfberht blades were generally straight, double-edged, and broad, often with a shallow central fuller that reduced weight without sacrificing essential strength. Complete examples usually measured close to a meter. Although usually called Viking swords, the blades were probably connected to workshops in the Frankish world of continental Europe. Scandinavian owners may have acquired them through trade, payment, gift, giving, or warfare. Many examples have been recovered from Scandinavian graves and European rivers. That does not necessarily mean most were manufactured there. Burial customs simply preserved weapons in some regions more frequently than in Christian territories. The inscriptions appeared from approximately the 9th to the 11th centuries, far longer than one swordsmith could have worked. Ulfberht may have begun as a personal name before becoming associated with a workshop, tradition, or valuable product. The first major revelation came from metallography. Researchers removed extremely small samples from damaged areas, polished them, and examined the internal structure under microscopes. Some blades looked unlike ordinary bloomery steel. Certain examples contained remarkably little slag. Their metal was more homogeneous than expected from a bloomery, suggesting that the steel had once been heated until completely liquid inside a sealed crucible. Several tested blades also possessed very high carbon levels. Correctly handled, this could produce a harder, sharper edge. But if forged or cooled badly, the same material could become brittle and fail. Creating crucible steel required conditions different from ordinary European bloomery production. Iron and carbon-bearing materials were heated inside a closed vessel until the metal melted and its composition became far more uniform. Even if imported crucible steel supplied the material, a European smith still had to transform the billet into a sword. Too much heat could destroy its useful properties. Too little could make shaping and welding difficult. Similar crucible steels were produced in parts of Central Asia, Persia, and India. This led to a compelling hypothesis: the raw steel reached Northern Europe through the same networks that carried silver, spices, and luxury goods. Scandinavian traders traveled east through the Baltic and along the rivers of Eastern Europe, following the Volga toward the Caspian world, connected them indirectly with Islamic markets and much more distant centers of production. Thousands of Islamic silver coins discovered in Scandinavia demonstrate that these long-distance connections were real. Vikings were not isolated raiders. They participated in commercial networks linking northern Europe with the wider medieval world. The Eastern steel theory fits the metallurgy and the trade routes, but no surviving shipping record traces a particular billet from an Asian furnace to an Ulfberht workshop. The connection remains persuasive, not conclusively demonstrated. Then came the revelation that changed the entire mystery. Metallurgical studies found enormous variation. Some Ulfberht swords used crucible steel, while others contained lower carbon metal, pattern, welded structures, or ordinary bloomery material. Some inscriptions were misspelled or arranged differently. These may represent separate workshops, changing traditions, or smiths copying a respected name to increase the value of an inferior weapon. If Ulfberht functioned as a workshop name or mark of reputation, its success created a familiar problem. Valuable products attract imitation. The inscription may represent one of medieval Europe's earliest recognizable sword brands. Legends claim that an Ulfberht could cut through inferior swords. There is no reliable evidence that the blades possessed supernatural strength. Their real advantages were more practical, consistency, hardness, and the potential to maintain a sharper edge. Carbon alone did not create a perfect sword. A blade that was too hard could snap. One that was too soft could bend. Its performance depended on forging temperature, heat treatment, geometry, and the skill of the smith. The name and the steel must therefore be considered separately. A correctly formed inscription does not prove crucible steel, and an unusual spelling does not automatically identify a worthless copy. Each surviving sword requires individual examination. Ulfberht was a Frankish personal name, but no single historical swordsmith has been securely identified. The production period spans generations, suggesting a workshop lineage, ecclesiastical connection, or inherited commercial tradition, rather than one legendary craftsman. After the 11th century, the Ulfberht name disappeared from swords. Trade patterns changed, European steelmaking improved, and new workshops introduced different blade inscriptions. A mark once associated with prestige quietly passed out of use. The evidence does not reveal one impossible sword. It reveals a family of blades, some made from remarkable high-carbon material, some produced by other advanced techniques, and some perhaps borrowing a prestigious name. The finest Ulfberhts existed because separate worlds were connected. Distant steel makers produced exceptional material. Merchants carried it across enormous distances. European swordsmiths possessed enough knowledge to forge it into an effective weapon. We may never know whether the warrior carrying an Ulfberht understood where its steel began. He may only have known that the name on his blade represented a weapon few others could afford. The Ulfberht did not appear from technology outside its time. It appeared because our picture of that time was too small. How many other medieval achievements seem impossible only because we have forgotten how far people, knowledge, and materials traveled. One of those routes carried Vikings far beyond Europe, not east toward steel, but west across an ocean. 5 centuries before Columbus, Norse explorers reached the coast of North America. How did they cross the Atlantic, and why did they leave?